Welcome to the Children's Law Center's 15th anniversary celebration. We are delighted that you could be with us tonight, because tonight we're going to recommit ourselves, and we hope you will too, to giving of our funds and our time to make sure that the children in our community have an opportunity that many, many children in our community don't have. And that opportunity is surrounded by one word: hope.
Libby and I are privileged and honored to continue to speak up for the children of our community by bringing to your attention the important work of the Children's Law Center.
We're reminded this year, with all the tragedy that's happened since the beginning of the year, about how fortunate we are. Our hearts ache for the children that have been left at home, out of school, with no safety and no peace. The Children's Law Center is a powerful tool to help these children and to help families figure out how to navigate through these difficult times.
The Children's Law Center is an important organization in our community, again, to help represent children in the courts. And we are very fortunate in this county to have the Children's Law Center, because there are only two other counties in the state that have an organization like the Children's Law Center that provides guardian ad litems to represent children in high custody and sometimes abuse cases in the courts.
We're proud of the Triad's commitment, because the Children's Law Center supports not only Forsyth County but also Guilford County.
A bit of business before we get going. The silent auction will remain open until 7:30 this evening. You can keep an eye on your items and watch the celebration on the same screen.
After the presentation, sponsors and their guests and ticket holders can click the link from your email for our Zoom table hopping after party. Everybody knows how to use Zoom today.
So as you participate from home tonight, think about how you can bring hope to the children in our community and their lives, which were really at the breaking point before even the pandemic became an issue in our community and our nation. So making a gift tonight is a way to express your gratitude for your life's blessing by helping our children. There's a button on your screen that you can push to make that gift and help the children of our community.
We hope and pray that next year we can all be together.
In short, we're here tonight to celebrate this great 15th anniversary of the Children's Law Center and move forward in this powerful mission of service to the children in our community. It's going to take all of us to stand with these children. For now, dig into your party bag, sit back and feel the strength of that which flows through our community.
Thank you, Jim and Libba. And now I'd like to introduce Susan Boyles, the chair of the Children's Law Center's Board of Directors. Susan?
Good evening. Welcome. On behalf of my fellow board members, I'm grateful that you have joined us for tonight's celebration as a voice for children in our community. Our staff attorneys and volunteers are accustomed to staying adaptable while conducting investigations. This has proven to be a useful skill. Throughout the pandemic, our attorneys have kept their eyes and ears open for new concerns in our cases. This year has also highlighted the adverse childhood experience of systemic racism. CLC has launched a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. We commit to addressing the dynamics of racism that hold children back from healing from their traumas and living into their full potential. As a partner at the presenting sponsor, Kilpatrick Townsend in Stockton, I'd like to thank the individuals, firms, and businesses who have joined us to make this evening a statement of commitment to the children of our community. They have stretched out in faith for our future. We cannot know everything that the future holds for any of our children, but we can show them how to find hope, to keep pressing forward so that they may grow in courage every day.
Thank you, Susan. Please join me in thanking the generous sponsors listed in your program and appearing on the screen. We thank especially the sponsors for their leadership. Presenting sponsor, Kilpatrick Townsend Stockton. Visionary sponsors, Rebecca and Todd Chase, Comerford, Chilson and Mosier, Susan and Charles Hauser, Pollyann and Greg Holzhusen, Morgenstern and Associates, Goodness Fine Portraits, Reynolds American, Salem Smiles, Waldrop Law, and Womble Bond Dickinson.
I want to thank you, all of you who have already given over these 15 years to make sure that the Children's Law Center is in this strong a place. During this pandemic, we are looking for more children than ever to need our services as households change and households recognize the pressure that they're under staying home together. We need to be ready when those cases come to court to be right there with each child. We need to have the capacity to do that, and you can make that happen. You don't have to go to the courtroom with the child. You don't need to make the home visit. You don't need to sit and talk with the teacher. But you can, in spirit, stand alongside our attorneys and let the child know that their community is with them, that they're not alone. Please take a minute to find the button on your screen, there probably is one where you're watching, and make an additional gift so that the children in our community who will join us as full members of this community are in the best situation possible as they grow up, and they can add to the joyful culture that we have in the Piedmont Triad.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
So about 18 years ago, Amy, she said, we're needed downtown. We're needed at the Legal Aid Society downtown, Winston-Salem. So I came downtown with Amy and
volunteered for a program. It was called the Child Advocacy Project at Legal Aid. And we served there as representatives of children in high conflict custody cases. And at one point, I was there serving as the kind of the administrator of the program, and it was a very small program. There wasn't a lot of funding for children. Legal Aid mostly had their focus on adults. And so as a volunteer, I headed the program and tried to search out into the community for pro bono attorneys to support the program by acting as representatives for children. And then in around 2004, there was a statute amended, the Domestic Violence Protective Order, the 50B, was amended so that children could then have a representative of their own in restraining orders.
At that time, I led a private nonprofit agency in Winston-Salem that worked with jeopardized children and their families. And so I became part of a conversation about what were possibly the missing links that we had in working with these vulnerable children, and what could we do to help their chances of success.
So the Children's Law Center was established in 2005, and by Penny Spry and Amy Coleman, and I joined the team in 2008, and I was the third employee.
We began on a wing and a prayer, with very little funding, leaned heavily on volunteers, just a couple of staff.
It was a difficult uphill battle to start a nonprofit, but we had the assistance of Rand Bell, who worked at Womble Carlisle at the time, and she did all of our legal work to get us set up. We also tapped into all of the community, and the community leaders in all facets of this community were so helpful and energetic.
And as the community got educated, we attracted more and more supporters, and with more supporters, we can grow.
Then Jim and Libba Lambie have a building downtown in Winston-Salem, and they too gave us free rent until we could raise money to start paying rent.
It's hard to turn Penny down on anything, and she came to us and told us about the idea of the Children's Law Center, introduced us to Amy Coleman, and we said it's a great idea and we think you'll pull it off.
We were fortunate enough to have a building that had space that was available, and I think it's important when you have something and somebody else needs it that you share it with them. And especially for an organization that's as important and is doing as good work as the Children's Law Center. I also think it's important to really help new organizations that are willing to do good work.
And over the years, we have steadily and slowly increased our staff. So there have been attorneys hired, development staff hired, we've increased the number of volunteers. We serve in Forsyth County, but also we expanded into Guilford County, and that started in 2014 in High Point, when then Chief District Court Judge Wendy Enix agreed that because of a program that had started in High Point with the Victims Justice Center, that we, the Children's Law Center, could be appointed in those domestic violence cases, those we call them 50B cases. And so, and then with the opening of the Guilford County Family Justice Center in Greensboro in 2015, we ended up moving staff and establishing an office there in the Family Justice Center.
The Children's Law Center has been a leader in the Family Justice Center work in Guilford County from the beginning. They prioritize the needs of children, and one of our special partnerships that we share is our partnership around our Camp Hope program. The Guilford County Family Justice Center's Camp Hope program is a program that specializes in working with children who've been impacted by domestic violence. It's an overnight camp and year-round programming. And from the beginning, Children's Law Center said yes. They take risk for children and families, and they prioritize the needs of children, and they have been a hand-in-hand partner with the Family Justice Center around our children trauma programming. We are working side by side in two locations, Greensboro and High Point, to make sure that we can meet the needs of all families living in Guilford County.
Without the help of these people, our nonprofit would be nowhere today. So we have them to thank.
Years before there was a Children's Law Center, I was going through a divorce, and I got a call for a court date for custody of my child. And I remember that I was quite terrified, and I didn't know what would happen, and I didn't know what it would be like to be there. And so the morning I went to court, my child said to me, "Mom, can I please just go with you and talk to the judge?" That says it all. That is exactly what the Children's Law Center does, and I would have loved to have had someone with these services to come in and study the situation from all sides, unbiased, present a report to the judge. But my son said it all. He wanted to have a voice, and that's what the Children's Law Center does. They give the children a voice, and they give them empowerment.
The Children's Law Center for the past 15 years has been providing children in the triad with quality legal advocacy, focusing on domestic violence issues, high conflict custody cases, and abuse and neglect matters.
The Children's Law Center provides a voice for the children.
The Children's Law Center has given the children a voice, finally.
The cases involve real people, real struggles that beg for legal representation in a way that it wouldn't be available apart from the Children's Law Center.
I think sometimes because children are small people that sometimes we don't really take into account how the environment and families and problems are affecting them, and it's important for them to have a voice.
As a guardian ad litem, our focus is on the best interest of the child. And so the most important person in our case is going to be the child.
You're making sure that a child is taken care of, is advocated for, and is getting the assistance and help and attention that they need.
Well, the Children's Law Center represents the interests of the children. And so many times they get lost in the shuffle between the parents and their interests get pushed to the side. And this is a chance to work with the parents, work with the children, get to know the children, and help make sure that their best interest is brought before the court. So the court can take that into consideration in issuing their rulings related to child custody and other related matters.
Children's Law Center provides hope to children.
Part of our mission at the Children's Law Center is that these children grow up to emotionally healthy adults.
We believe in the mission of the organization, and this is a situation in which these children would not be represented were it not for the Children's Law Center. Nobody else is doing that.
The children who come to us in our cases at the Children's Law Center are really at a rough point in their life. I think for many of them, it may be the worst possible time in their life because their parents have separated or are getting divorced. Their whole world is changing.
What the research shows is that the higher the number of incidences of adverse experiences a child has, the greater the likelihood of poor health outcomes later in life.
There's all this uncertainty for the children, and when they come through the doors of the Children's Law Center, we are able to reassure them that the decisions that are being made about their future are the best decisions that they can have under the circumstances. We're able to tell them that their voice will be heard.
What we want to do at the Children's Law Center is to try to address those situations and mitigate those adverse childhood experiences, even if it's one child at a time.
We've been doing this now for 15 years, so we've got the data to show what our work means.
I started a project with a colleague of mine, Ralph Peoples, also on the law faculty at Wake Forest Law School. He's a numbers cruncher, so I said, I'll tell you some numbers I want to crunch. I want to see if we can figure out when it's in our domestic violence court, when people go into domestic violence court and they have kids, what seems to make a difference? What can the law do to make that family experience less violence? We crunched the data, took a lot of data from domestic violence court in families that have kids, minor kids, and looked, and the only thing that looked like it might make a difference is the presence of a guardian ad litem. It was intriguing. So we launched on another study, collected a lot more data. By this time, the Children's Law Center was really up and running and handling more and more cases. So we explored it. We gathered the data from the cases that the Children's Law Center had handled. And it turned out there was a direct correlation between the participation of the guardian ad litem, the Children's Law Center as guardian ad litem, and less subsequent violence in that family. It didn't matter how much violence had been in that family. There's a guardian ad litem appointed, and that family 2 years later is experiencing less violence.
These children who maybe grew up seeing their parents being abusive toward each other now know that's not right. And they've gotten help to deal with what they experienced, and they've decided they're not going to go down that road. So that's one less domestic violence case in our court system. I think it means less substance abuse cases, because you have children who grew up seeing their parents abuse alcohol or drugs, and maybe they were headed down that road too. But because a guardian ad litem intervened and got help and connected them with the resources, that child is not going to grow up to be a substance abuser. I think it shows up in our high school graduation rates. So we see many children who are at risk for not even being able to get through the grade they're in, much less think about high school graduation. And as guardian ad litems, we're able to help put that child back on the right track.
And the fact is, if these children fall through the cracks, it's going to impact the community.
Yeah, we've represented children in every private school here in town, every public school here in town. There's no one that we haven't encouraged to come through our doors, and we'll give them a voice.
With our presence in these cases and our contact with these children is we can help instill them with hope. Because imagine this, if instead of focusing on everything that's negative about this situation, if we, the Children's Law Center, but all of us, the community, can rally behind these children, if we can collectively provide them with the love and support and the treatment that they need, and let them know that there is hope, and let them live and help them to live a hope-filled life, then just imagine what that can mean for that boy or girl, what their future will be like, because they will be hope-filled and they will have been supported and realize that there is a different way, and that they will have a positive effect on the community as they grow up. And imagine what that positive ripple effect will be in the community for all of us.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, no, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sea that we look upon should tumble and fall, and the mountain should crumble in the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Whenever I'm in trouble, won't you stand by me? Whoa, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me.
I've noticed that we keep reminding ourselves that these are unprecedented times, that we are all living with changes that we never saw coming. I will be honest with you. At the Children's Law Center, we have a gap between the resources that we need and the resources that we have. We've seen a decrease in funding from our very generous donors, and individuals and businesses are carefully watching how they make decisions. Your contribution will enable us to continue to serve the children of this community and to be there when they need us most.
We can't let the Children's Law Center go away. It serves a vital role in this community of showing people, allowing people to see that children don't have a voice, So the continued support of the Children's Law Center is vital to this community.
I still want every law student who goes through Wake Forest Law School to work with the Children's Law Center as a volunteer. It's such a unique perspective, especially for lawyers. Not all the volunteers, of course, are lawyers or lawyers in training, but for those volunteers who are lawyers in training, they get an experience that they'll never have again. You know, without trying to make a case for one side or the other, you're getting on the inside of a judge's head.
The Children's Law Center provides a critical function in making sure that children's voice is heard in the courts. And an important reason my wife and I support the Children's Law Center is to make sure those children's voices get heard, and that's why we find it to be an important organization to support.
So apart from donating my time and legal skills as a court-appointed guardian ad litem, my wife Nancy and I also take very seriously the mission of the Children's Law Center, and so we give on a yearly basis charitable contribution to the Children's Law Center because this is an important work that they do and a work that wouldn't be done if they weren't around.
There's so many individuals who have the ability and the capacity, and to them I would say, take the time. And if you can't volunteer the time, volunteer your monetary support. It goes so far.
2 of my daughters have volunteered with the Children's Law Center, and my husband and I have supported it financially for many years. We feel so strongly that this is such a critical work and know that these dollars will be used to continue to give children a much needed voice during one of the most difficult times of their lives.
So today I ask you to think about these children, to think about the trauma to which they've been exposed and how you can help to mitigate that trauma, how you can help us to help them and empower them and to give them hope so that then they are in a better place, and that with you joining us, we can all collectively help this community to have a healthier, brighter, hope-filled future led by the children of our community.
Happy anniversary, Children's Law Center.
Happy anniversary, CLC.
Happy anniversary, Children's Law Center.
Happy 15th anniversary, Children's Law Center. You're doing great work. Keep it up.
Happy 15th anniversary, Children's Law Center. Thank you for all that you do for our community.
Happy 15th birthday to the Children's Law Center, and thank you for all the great work you do for children.
Happy birthday, Children's Law Center.
Happy 15th anniversary, Children's Law Center.
Here's to 15 more years, CLC.
Happy 15th anniversary, Children's Law Center. Here's to many more.
Congratulations, Children's Law Center. Woohoo!
Happy birthday, Children's Law Center. Happy 15 years.
Happy 15th anniversary, Children's Law Center.
Happy 15th anniversary to the Children's Law Center.
On behalf of the Guilford County Family Justice Center, we want to wish the Children's Law Center a happy 15th anniversary.
Happy 15th anniversary. Happy 15th birthday, Children's Law Center.
Happy anniversary, Children's Law Center.
Happy 15th birthday, Children's Law Center.
Happy 15th anniversary, CLC. I am happy to be a part of this great organization, and thanks for all you do.
Happy anniversary to the Children's Law Center. I love you, the community loves you, and thank you so much for what you do.
Happy anniversary, CLC. Here's to another 15 years.
Happy anniversary, CLC.
Happy 15th birthday, Children's Law Center.
Happy 15th anniversary, CLC.
Happy anniversary, Children's Law Center. We're so excited for you and what's to come in the future.
So proud of all of you there.
Thank you for joining us tonight. You're helping us as the Children's Law Center, but we're also helping children. We're helping children have hope. And in many instances in our community, hope is just a word that doesn't exist. But because you watched this program tonight and because you believe in the future of our community, you have an opportunity to recommit with your dollars and your support as volunteers. That's what we're looking for. We appreciate everything. We can't do it by ourselves, but together we can make this a successful community, successful for you, successful for the Children's Law Center, most importantly, for the children of our community.